A very good evening, everyone. We begin at 6 with dangerous and it appears lingering heat now on its way to the northwest with what we are calling 4 weather impact alert days beginning on the 4th of July. Thanks for joining us. I'm David Molko.
And I'm Christine Pitawanich. Of course, with the heat comes fire danger, too. Today, the city of Portland issued a burn ban. That means no campfires, fire pits, or open burning, but you can still use your grill. We've got team coverage for you this evening. Blair Best is tracking how the city and county are preparing.
But first to Chief Meteorologist Matt Zaffino with the latest forecast. So, Matt, how hot are we talking?
Hey, David, it looks like Saturday will be one of the hottest days in the Portland weather record. We've only had 14 days this hot, and I'll talk more about that in a minute. So the weather impact alert days, we just started doing this week, and we're going to do this, paint the days red as opposed to our normal blue when we think the weather will be at the very least inconvenient, but at the worst dangerous, and this is trending in the dangerous direction, at least for some, with these extremely hot temperatures on the way. On Thursday, the 4th of July, it'll be hot, but it won't be unreasonably hot, about 94, but hot enough. That combined with the holiday, we think it's worthy of being a weather impact alert day. Friday, Saturday, Sunday, all in triple digits. That's very hot for us. That's dangerously hot for us. And the overnight lows will be in the mid to upper 60s too. So the nighttime relief, not the best it could be. And even on Monday, 97, we may have to add that as a weather impact alert day as well before we finally drop down to a high of around 90 on Tuesday, maybe Wednesday or Thursday before we stay out of the 90s. So again, this is a long duration heat wave that is on the way, and you need to be ready for this. So think about this. The impact, of course, is the excessive heat, and dehydration is an issue. Heat stroke is a possibility. In a way, maybe it's good that it's a holiday weekend. A lot of people have time off, so don't have to exert yourself as much. Make sure you keep track of your pets, your plants, the elderly, your neighbors, anybody who might struggle with this extremely hot weather, because it is going to be toasty. We've got excessive heat warning up for the valleys. The excessive heat watch east side will be converted to a warning in the days ahead. So record highs in the hundreds Friday, Saturday, Sunday. Saturday's forecast of 105. We've only had, as I said, 14 days in the entire Portland weather record going back to the late 30s where we've been 105 or warmer. One of those was last year. We hit 108 last August, and we've got the potential for record warm overnight temperatures too. So a lot to keep track of, but the good thing is tomorrow will be nice. Good time to prepare for the heat that's on the way.
At least we have that, and so it begins. Thank you, Matt. Let's bring in Blair Best, downtown Portland right now. Blair, this heat is going to be hard on seniors, homeless people, and really anyone without access to AC. What's the plan right now?
Well, David, as of today, Multnomah County is still deciding whether they're going to open cooling centers. Meanwhile, service providers are preparing to be a last resort to prevent any heat-related dangers from threatening homeless people.
Melissa, who is homeless in Old Town, has enough to worry about.
I'm pregnant, and so it's like...
She doesn't need the threat of a heat wave, too.
When the digits come, I don't know what I'm going to do.
Cooling towels. We also have cold packs.
Inside Blanchet House, staff stock up to help people like Melissa.
People come here when they have nowhere else to go.
Same goes for the Union Gospel Mission a few blocks away.
We're receiving donations and pallets of water. People are looking for places they can get out of that heat and shade and find ways to hydrate back up.
We have not heard about any cooling centers being open, so people are going to come to Blanchet House and other service providers.
There are no cooling centers currently open in Multnomah County. A county spokesperson tells KGW they're talking daily with the National Weather Service, monitoring heat risk, and will be prepared to open them if needed. They'll make the final call the day before.
There are so many small little pieces of data that have to align just right.
We should have them, is the right thing to do, because people cannot survive out here in the heat.
I'm just going to drink lots of water, and that's all I can do.
Those at Portland Fire and Rescue are calling on the community to do their part too.
It's unfortunate where we are with people living on the streets for however they got there, but the reality is they're there and they're people. So if you can reach out and help them as an individual community member, great.
I mean, come on now, we're human beings.
All right, now while Multnomah County continues to figure out what they're going to do with these cooling centers, they are increasing homeless outreach, and they encourage people to go to public libraries or community centers to try and escape the heat. Surrounding areas like Clackamas County already have plans to open cooling centers starting July 4th. David, Christine.
Yeah, we'll be keeping tabs on that. Blair Best reporting from the waterfront. Thank you so much, Blair. And speaking of keeping on top of all this information, stay with KGW for the very latest forecasts and safety info throughout this coming heat wave on air, online, and on the KGW app.
Let's get to your other headlines now, starting with a not guilty plea this afternoon from the suspect accused of shooting and killing a man at a North Portland Max stop. Portland police say 29-year-old Moyasar Osman Muhammad Ahmed shot and killed Sean Smeeden at North Interstate and Prescott last Thursday night. They released surveillance photos of Muhammad Ahmed yesterday afternoon, saying he may have fled the country. Hours later, the suspect turned himself in and was booked on second-degree murder charges. He's due back in court next Monday.
A home in the Lentz neighborhood is damaged after an attic fire late this morning. It happened on Southeast 97th Avenue between Harold and Steel Streets. Fortunately, Portland Fire and Rescue says no one was inside the home when that fire broke out. Firefighters put out the flames in about an hour.
In Washington, Olympia police are investigating what state officials say may be the largest embezzlement of public funds in the state's history. Investigators say a management analyst at the Office of Administrative Hearings used the agency's credit card to pay himself more than $878,000. The alleged theft happened over a 4-year period beginning in 2019. According to a just released audit, investigators found no actual business activity to justify those charges. Instead, they found the money was spent on things like gift cards and phone bills. Officials say the employee quit last summer after learning about that audit.
Two proposals that would give families more input on school choice will likely not appear on the November ballot. The first measure sets up school choice accounts to give families money to cover private school or homeschooling costs. The second would make it easier for public school students to transfer to neighboring districts or charter schools. But the group gathering signatures, Education Freedom for Oregon, says they're tens of thousands of signatures short for each measure and are facing a July 5th deadline. They plan to try again in 2026. Now at 6, a family moving to Southern Oregon from Hawaii says their dog died on the plane as it was preparing for takeoff.
I mean, this is a story that might be upsetting to a lot of people. Yeah. Devin Haskins is here. Devin, the family says this all could have been avoided.
Yeah, David, Christine, the family says they had one request. Let them take their dogs out of the carriers to let them get some air. They say they were denied multiple times until it was too late. Warning, some of the details of this story are difficult to hear. Gary and Angie Inglau had only moved to Hawaii 10 months ago and decided to move back to Oregon. Their dogs had flown before without any problems, so they didn't think there would be any problems this time. On Sunday, as they were waiting for their flight, temps outside were in the 80s. The dogs were in their carriers, and when they asked the airline if they could let them out because they seemed to be overheating, airline staff told them no. Even on the plane, they asked the staff if they could take them out, but again, we're told no. Alaska Airlines says its policy requires pets to be stowed in a carrier during taxi, takeoff, and landing, as well as in the boarding areas. When attendants finally brought them ice, Gary noticed that Frank, their white French bulldog, had stopped breathing.
So when we tried to get him out, I was shaking him. He wasn't moving. I pulled him out of the carrying case. His eyes were open. His tongue was hanging out a little bit, and he wasn't moving or breathing. And that was it.
We had to hold our poor baby's lifeless body because they would not let him out of that kennel when you could clearly hear he was in distress.
Yeah.
Alaska Airlines said they were aware of this and said, "We take the care of pets flying with us seriously and we're saddened by the reported loss of this guest's pet." They also added our crew members followed their processes as it relates to pets on board aircraft and took extra care of the guests for the duration of the flight. Now, I also wanted to know how often this happens, and it turns out it's pretty rare. Looking at the government reports over the last 12 months, only 6 animals have died aboard an aircraft. Frank will be added to the report for June. Guys.
Yeah, rest in peace, Frank. Thank you, Devin. Appreciate it. This evening, Multnomah County is looking for input on the design of a new Burnside bridge.
Daisy Caballero is live for us at the waterfront with all the details. So, Daisy, we're talking 2 designs that people can choose from here, right?
Yeah, Christine, exactly right. We have 2 different bridge types to choose from. The first one is the tied arc structure, and that second is a cable stay structure. Now, while both are a little bit different, they would both be earthquake proof.
Multnomah County has plans to build the first seismic resilient bridge to the heart of downtown Portland in place of the Burnside Bridge. Experts say we're due for a huge Cascadia subduction zone earthquake in the next 50 years, widely known as the Big One.
So we could have at least one crossing that our emergency responders and our community can use to recover from a major disaster.
Megan Neal is the design phase program manager behind this project and shares they decided on 2 bridge structures with 3 options per type. A tied arc structure like the Fremont Bridge or a cable stay structure that resembles the Tillicum Crossing Bridge.
So we really want to build a bridge that the community can be proud of. Therefore, that's why we were really looking for the public to weigh in on what this bridge should look like.
So we took that question to the people of downtown Portland. Looking at these 2, what are your thoughts?
I would probably go with the cable stay type. It's the one that probably looks as more aesthetically pleasing.
You know, I'm not a bridge guy, but I would say the top one looks maybe more modern look, which I'm sure would help Portland a little bit.
Both designs would have 2 traffic lanes in both directions with a 17-foot wide bike and pedestrian path on each bridge side. And the price for this, $895 million.
So right now we're anticipating closing the bridge in 2027 for 5 years. We will be starting construction in 2026 by making some upgrades on the detour routes that we expect bicyclists and pedestrians to use.
If all goes well, Neal says the bridge should be completed by the end of 2031.
Now, the county has created a survey for folks to, again, chime in and let them know which bridge they would like to see. But if you're someone who wants to see something a little bit more interactive, the county has a bunch of events that will be held throughout this month to get a little bit better informed. Back to you guys.
And perhaps the most important thing, a new bridge that will stand through a strong earthquake. Thank you, Daisy. Still to come at 6, just in time for the heat, the local fire department that got a valuable new tool to help fight wildfires in the gorge.
And inside the training that's building teamwork between firefighters on the ground and pilots in the air.
Plus, coming up at 6:30, Pat and team dive into Multnomah County's deflection program. The idea is to get people connected with drug treatment instead of sending them to jail. So why are many frustrated with how the program is shaping up? That's ahead at 6:30 on The Story, only here on KGW.